Are you ready to make 5 pairs of earrings in only 5 minutes? I am. Welcome to the channel Avante Jewelry. I'm Vicki, and today we're going to make 5 pairs of earrings in 5 minutes, and there is one common denominator between all of the earrings, and it's this tiny little eye pin. If you don't have any eye pins, don't worry, because I'll show you how you can make these from head pins or just from some wire. Now, the 5th pair of earrings might take a little longer than 5 minutes, and if it does, I'm going to add a bonus pair of earrings that's only 5 minutes to make. I don't know if you caught my last video, my last haul video. I made these earrings using an eye pin, and I really like them. I really like the dangle. So that's what we're going to do today in this video. So let's get started. The primary tools for this video are my round nose pliers, flat nose pliers, needle nose pliers, and flush cutters. You'll need some eye pins. If you don't have any eye pins, I'm going to show you how to make them. They're just a head pin with a loop on one end. The eye pins that I have are 1.5 inch, and you'll also need some head pins. And the head pins that I use are 2 inches. Head pin has a flat end. It's called a head pin. Other than that, you'll just need the beads of your choice. My videos are for inspiration. I encourage you to take these ideas, use your own beads and findings, and have fun with it. Earrings number 1. I've got 3 faceted beads. They don't need to be faceted, they can just be round. And these are 8 millimeter. To make the earrings, you'll need twice of what I'm showing you here, because it takes 5 eye pins per earring. So you'll need 10 eye pins. You'll need a pair of ear wires of your choice, and you'll need 6 8 millimeter beads of your choice, 3 per earring. And you'll need 2 8 millimeter jump rings per earring. I did tell you though, if you don't have any eye pins, I'll show you how to make them. I have my 2-inch head pin. Using my flush nose pliers, I'm going to cut the head of the pin off. Now I have just a straight piece of wire. You can use 20 gauge wire if you'd like, and cut 2 inches. An eye pin already has the loop on one end. By cutting off the head of the head pin, we need to make a loop. Using round nose pliers and working about not quite 1/4 of an inch in, the wire is flushed to the end here, but get a good grip on it and just roll it and make a loop. However, if you notice, this loop is centered on the pin, where this one is off to the side. So what we need to do is put your round nose pliers in here and just bend it back a little bit. Straighten it up if you need to. Keep it straight. And now we have an eye pin. My loop is just slightly larger than the original head pin. I could have gone just a little smaller on it, but it's going to work fine for this. That's an example of how you can make your own eye pin. I don't need it right now, so I'm just going to set it aside. For the 4 eye pins that I have laying here, I want to put another eye on the opposite end of each one. Now this eye pin goes the direction of to the right. I want to make the opposite end eye pin to roll to the left. So I have this one facing down. And you see how they're opposite of each other? I'm going to get a hold of this. However, we do need to roll this back. Just bend it back. When I say bend it back, I mean just roll it back to straighten it out and center it on the pin. This one faces towards me and this one faces away. And now we have a double-ended eye pin. I don't know that there's any specific name for that, but that's what we have. Let's do that for the next 3. Get a hold of that, go to the end, Roll it back to straighten it out so that it's centered on the pin. Close it up just a little bit if you need to. This one did come out a little larger, but as long as one end of the eye pin is the same and the other end of the eye pins are the same, that's okay. This is the original eye pin. This is my eye pin. I'm going to go with it. It doesn't have to be perfect, just similar in size. You'll see why when we get to making the earrings. Roll it back, close it up, and if you need to, take your flat nose pliers and straighten this out so that they're flat. Flat here and flat here. Let's make one more. Straighten it out a little bit. We have our 4 double-ended eye pins, and then we have this one. Why am I not putting the eye on the other end of the pin? I didn't do it because we're going to start threading the beads onto this eye pin. We have 1 bead, and then we're going to use the original eye of the eye pin. Slip one of these on here. And I'm going to face the loop towards me. And then thread another bead. Again, these are 8mm. This pin looks a little wavy, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of straightening here with my flat nose pliers. So we have 2 beads and 1 double-ended eye pin. Let's add another eye pin. Again, I'm keeping the original eye facing me. This one also looks a little wavy, so let's give it a little straighten. Then add the 3rd bead, making sure that the other end of the eye pin doesn't slide out. We need to add 1 more eye pin. I'm not sure why these got a little bit wavy on me, but I'm going to straighten it out. And this is what we have so far. We need to make another eye at the end of this eye pin. To hold these in place, I'm going to put it down on my table, and I do want the eyes facing the same direction, so I'm going to attempt to do that. Putting my thumb over top and then bending this. Whoops, one fell off. Let's try again. This is where you kind of have to have a good hold on it. You can see I have the wire bent. Taking round nose pliers, just get a hold of the end of it. Roll it back. Close it up. I am closing it up over this eye pin. And then center it up. How do we center it up? We just pull it back a little bit. Giving a little pinch to straighten it up. This is what it looks like so far. Now we need to add this eye pin to this end. I didn't put it on right away because it would be awkward to work with. But now I'm going to open up this end of the eye pin and add it. This is where I like my needle nose pliers because they're narrow at the tip. Slip this on. Close it up. Now that this part is done, take the 8mm jump ring, hold one side stationary, and with your other tool, either push back or pull forward to open the jump ring. Now let's gather up all 4 eyes of our earring. I'll show you. I find it helps to hold it upside down and then insert the jump ring through all 4 eyes of the eye pins, while trying not to twist any of the eye pins. And just make sure it looks okay. This is what we've got here. And then attach your ear wire, close up the jump ring, and we just made ourselves a really cool looking earring. Just check it and make sure that all of your pins are laying nice. You can try a smaller jump ring if you want, but I feel that the 8mm jump ring works best. You can also use a different ear wire if you'd like. Let's take a closer look at it. Here's the pair. And no matter if it takes you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it really doesn't matter. You work at your own pace. But here we have a very unique pair of earrings. You can completely change the look of this by the beads that you choose. Remember, my videos are for inspiration. You could even do a different bead in the center. You could use smaller beads. If you want shorter earrings, you could use a post instead of French ear wires and shorten them up if you'd like. What do you think of pair number 1? I am going to ask you to vote at the end of this video. I'm going to show you all of the earrings that we've made today. I will number the earrings and you're invited to vote in your comment. But let's move on to pair number 2. I have 3 2-inch head pins. This pair of earrings lends itself to very unique beads, and as you can see, this is a very unique bead. This is from a necklace that I upcycled, so I do need to remove the bead, so I do need to separate the components. So give me a second while I do that. If you have unique beads, you may not have to do this. But I wanted a bead that could stand alone, or I should say beads, because we'll need 2 of them. It's green with a gold band and little black dots. The technique to make a bead like this is called lamp working. It's a hand-blown glass bead. I don't need these pieces that I took off, so I'll set those aside. I have a pierced ear wire. I have a 6mm jump ring, and I have a few of these gold-plated twisted tube beads. Tiny gold twisted tube beads. What you're not seeing here is an eye pin. Why is that? Why don't I have a gold-plated or gold-tone eye pin? Well, it's because I don't have any. I only have eye pins in silver tone. So we're going to need to make a gold tone eye pin. Just like for the first pair of earrings, let's take this 2-inch head pin and turn it into an eye pin. With your flush cutters, just cut the head of the pin off. What I have laid out here is for 1 earring. You'll need to double it to make a pair. You'll need 2 head pins and 1 eye pin of the color of your choice. I suggest you use a unique bead, 2 unique beads, 2 6mm jump rings, ear wires of your choice, and some assorted twisted tube beads. If you don't have twisted tube beads, perhaps you have another type of tube bead. They're also called bugle beads, so you could substitute bugle beads. I found out that the cost of the gold-plated twisted tube beads has really skyrocketed. So if you go to buy these, you might just want to look for silver-plated. Make a little loop, roll it back to center it up. And before I cut the length, I'm going to go ahead and put my bead on here, like this. I do want to make another eye on the opposite end of this bead. Bend the wire at a right angle, trim it down just like you're making an earring. Trim it down to about 1/4 inch. And then get a hold of the end and roll it back and make your loop. Oops, it looks like I got a little bit long on this. It's too loose. I'll show you here what we can do to fix that. You can open it back up slightly, and using your flush cutters, trim off just a little bit of the wire, and then pick up again with your round nose pliers to finish closing the loop. You don't have to sacrifice the whole pin just because it started out a little bit too long. We can make this work. So I'm just closing it up and then straightening it up just a little bit while making sure that the loop is closed. This is what I have. And if you need to straighten these to make sure they're going the same direction, just use 2 tools, 1 on each end of the eye pin. I should have said in the beginning that we're turning all of these head pins into eye pins. We need 3 of them per each earring, so that's what we're going to do. I'll play some music while I turn these 2 head pins into eye pins. Now let's attach this eye pin to the other end of our bead and close it up. I hope you understand that teaching how to do this does take longer than if I was actually just making the earrings. They really don't take long to make at all. Now for the twist tube beads. Let's go ahead and feed some of these on here. I'm not sure how many, but I'm thinking about 5. And if you can't get the head pin through the twist tube bead, just try another one. And also make sure that the ones that you're using are all the same length, because they can vary in the batch of tube beads that you receive. So do make sure they're all the same length. Now that we have 5 twist tube beads on here, we need to make a loop on the open ends. So let's bend it and turn it into a loop. This wire happens to be quite stiff. Using round nose pliers, we're just going to make a loop just like we would if we're making an earring. And as I said, this head pin is very, very stiff. And that's a good thing because it makes the whole earring sturdy. I didn't get the loop pulled back very far. I can fix that with my round nose pliers and just pull it back and center it up on the pin. Pull it backwards to center it and then close it up again. That's better. That's what I'm going for. Now, do you see how tiny some of these twist tube beads are? Those are the ones I don't want to use. They'd be fine for stringing a necklace, but for this project, you want all of them to be the same length. So let's pick out 5 of the same size that match the ones that we've already used and set the rest aside. Just thread them on to the head pin, also known as an eye pin at this point because there's a loop at the bottom. I've got all 5 on here. As I compare it, it looks like they match. Both sides match. Going to do the same thing we did on the first one. Push the beads all the way down to the bottom. Bend that wire at the top and make a loop. It helps a little bit to set it down on the table to make the loop. This is what we have so far. Time for the jump ring. Hold one side stationary and with your other hand either push back or pull forward to open the jump ring. I like to turn the earring upside down before I attach the jump ring, and just take a look at it and see if you like the way that it's hanging. Add your ear wire, close up the jump ring, and we just finished our earring. What do you think of this one? And here's the pair. Because we're only using one bead for these earrings, I think it is really important to use a very special bead. It's not necessarily that the bead has to be that unique. I mean, maybe it's just a bead that's special to you, but the beads that you choose are the focal point of the earrings. To shorten these up, you could use a smaller bead for a smaller look. You could use shorter wires and less twist tube beads, and you can even use a post ear wire to shorten the earrings if you prefer a shorter look. 2 down. Next is pair number 3. If you're enjoying this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. Be sure to like, comment, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe and keep watching. There's more. Are you ready for 4? If you follow my channel, you know that I like to upcycle a lot of vintage and fashion jewelry, and that's what I'm working a lot with today. For these earrings, I recently showed this in a video. It was a haul video that I put out recently, and I took this necklace apart. The video was about my haul from Salvation Army, and I found this necklace not only with these little silver metallic discs, it also had the faux turquoise beads that I'm going to work with. I bought the necklace because I really like these discs, and there are 2 sizes of them on this necklace. So let's go for a large and a small disc. Let's take them off this chain. Trying to find the split in the jump ring so I can remove these. And I'm going to lose the chain on this. I don't need it. And I did take a few components apart earlier. I'm set up here for 1 earring, so of course you'll need to double everything for a pair. For a pair, you'll need 2 round beads. I'm using faux turquoise beads. It takes 2 small bead caps per earring, so 4 total. 2 3mm round beads per earring, so 4 total. 2 jump rings per earring, so 4 total. And if you don't have any discs like this, maybe you can find something else in your bead stash and work in. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm using. I'm just sharing this for inspiration. I have 2 small amber beads. 2 of them have kind of a glittery AB finish and 2 do not. So you'll need 4 6mm beads, 2 per earring. And then 2 eye pins per earring, 4 total, and 1 ball head pin, 2 total for the earrings. I'm going to be wire wrapping with this little ball pin. And of course a pair of ear wires of your choice. Let's start with one of the eye pins and add a bead cap. The bead cap will be stopped by the eye pin. And this faux turquoise bead, what size do we have here? It's not a 9, it's a 10 millimeter. But you can use a smaller bead if you'd like. And as I said, this is an upcycled faux turquoise bead. So we have the small bead cap on the eye pin. Add the 10 millimeter round bead, or whatever bead size you choose. Add the second bead cap, and then add a 6 millimeter bead. I'm using the amber bead that has the AB finish to it on top. And top it off with a small 3 millimeter bead, or seed bead if you like. Let's finish this off like we would any earring. Bend the wire at a right angle, trim it back to about 1/4 inch, and like any earring, we use our round nose pliers, curl the wire back into a loop, pull it back if you need to align it a little better, make it straight and centered, and just make sure it's closed. Now we can go ahead at this point and add the ear wire of your choice. So using my needle nose pliers, I just open the loop sideways, attach the ear wire, and close the loop. And you could say, oh, okay, we have an earring, we're done. Well, no, not quite yet. We're going to take a head pin in this little amber bead and wire wrap it so we have a little dangle. I'm finding a position here on the head pin where I'm allowing enough room to be able to wire wrap. Well, I'll show you here. Pull the wire over the top. Change positions with your round nose pliers. Push the wire down and past the bead. And using some pliers, I'm using my flat nose pliers. And with another pair of flat nose pliers, or in my case I'm using my needle nose pliers, get hold of that end and wrap the wire around the pin and place each wrap as close as you can to the prior wrap right beside it. And I'm going for 3 wraps until it resembles a loop. Using flush cutters, trim off the excess wire as close as you can to your last loop. Well, maybe I can come around just a little more. And then I'm going to trim it close. And using needle nose pliers, just tuck that wire in, that sharp end of the wire, tuck it in as close as you can to the wrapped area. So now we have a little wire wrapped bead, a little bead that's going to become a dangle for our earring. I'm using a 4 millimeter jump ring. Layer up our little bead dangle, the small disc, and the large disc. And we're going to attach that to the eye pin at the bottom of the earring and close that up. You're going to say, why do you have this other eye pin? Well, I'm not sure. I don't need it. I just noticed the ear wire is backwards. I'm just going to open this up and reverse it so that the design is at the front of the ear wire. Here are the earrings, and I can see right out of the gate that this loop is larger than the loop on the left. Well, it's because I made these on separate days. I did my practice yesterday and then showing you today, and this is what happens when you wire wrap on 2 separate days. It can come out different. So I'm going to have to fix that. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm going to redo my wire wrap on the right. I can do better. Did I do it? Did I pull it off? Much, much better. There you go, pair number 3. Are you ready for 4? Again, this is for 1 earring, so we need to double everything. I have 3 6 millimeter rondelles per earring, so 6 total. I have an 8 millimeter round bead. This is a stone. You'll need 2. It's pink and gray and black. 2 6 millimeter rhinestone rondelles with an AB finish. You'll need 4 total. 2 tiny little seed beads per earring, so 4 total. 2 lengths of chain per earring. They're about 1.5 inches long, and I do have 4mm jump rings on each end. So you need 4 lengths of chain, 1.5 inches long, and 8 4mm jump rings for the pair. You don't have to use the jump rings on each end, but boy, do I think it makes it a lot easier to assemble the earrings. I think it's a nice look too. 3 eye pins. Mine are 1.5 inches long, so you'll need 6 total, and 1 head pin. Mine happens to be 2 inches. You don't necessarily need one 2 inches long, but you'll need 2 head pins per earring. Let's start with an eye pin, and let's thread some beads on here. 6mm rondelle, 6mm rhinestone rondelle, 8mm round bead, the other rhinestone rondelle, and another 6mm rondelle bead. Mine has a metallic finish. This is what we have on here. Just like we have the eye on the right, we need to put an eye on the left. Bend this at a right angle, trim it down to about 1/4 inch or less because you're trying to match the eye on the other end of the pin, so probably a little less than 1/4 inch. I'm going to take a little more off and then make a loop. And sorry if I get off camera a little bit here. Close your loop, pull it back a little bit if you need to, and if you need to, straighten it out. Just going to close it up a little more. Okay, I have a little bead bar. Before we work with the chain, let's take our head pin and thread a seed bead, the last little 6mm rondelle, and another seed bead on top. We're going to bend this, and yes, I know this head pin is way too big. It's just what I have. You could probably get by with a 1-inch head pin for this. Bend it at a right angle. We're going to make a little loop, just like we do for an earring, maybe a little smaller, and close it up. I just wanted to get this little bead ready. As far as the chain, using flat nose pliers, whether they're flat or needle nose, there's no texture on the inside of these pliers. They're smooth. Open up the little jump ring on the end of the chain and then attach it to the eye pin on one end of the bead bar and close it up. Take the other piece of chain and repeat the process. Find the cut in the jump ring, open it up. I think you know how to open that now, and put this through the eye on the other end of the bead bar. This is what we have so far, again like a little swing. Now let's take the jump ring, the 8mm jump ring. Do I really need this jump ring though? I think I changed my mind on this jump ring. We don't need it. Sorry about that. I made this wrong. I was supposed to use an eye pin, not a head pin. Let's redo this. I got ahead of myself. I have my seed bead, the rondelle, and the other seed bead. Okay, now I needed this eye pin. I'll show you why. Now I'll just bend this and finish this off like I did before. Open it sideways, add the ear wire, and make sure it's closed up all the way so the seed bead stays in place. So we have 2 components here, the little tiny rondelle on the ear wire, and then we have the bead bar with the chain. Let's open up the eye pin on the ear wire part. I like to turn the bead bar upside down so that the chain drapes down so I can slip those little jump rings onto my open loop. I'll show you. And close it up. I figure it's just easier to open up one loop than to open up the 2 small jump rings on the chain. So let's get this closed up. And this is what we have. So here we have pair number 4. To recap, a pair of ear wires of your choice. We have 2 6mm rondelles that we used at the top. We have some chain. You could do 1 inch of chain if you want to shorten these up. You could do 1.5, whatever you prefer. We have a couple of 8mm round stones or beads of your choice. Takes 4 rondelles and 4 rhinestone rondelles and 4 at the bottom, 6 total of the 6mm rondelles. Might happen to be silver. So there you go, pair number 4. Time for pair number 5. And as I said in the opening, it may take longer than 5 minutes to make this pair of earrings. So if I can't pull this off in 5 minutes, I'm going to include a bonus pair. So let's see how pair number 5 works out. Next pair. What do we have here? We have an eye pin. We have 3 ball pins. Vintage Moonglow bead, which is from the haul that I had recently. This one here, this bead is 12mm. And these are 6mm, so 3 6mm. 2 little bead caps, kind of fancy. Ear wire of your choice. I have 3 pieces of chain, 1 inch. That includes a little 4mm jump ring at each end, like what I used in one of the earlier earrings. 3 pieces, 1 inch, including the little 4mm jump ring. Let's go ahead and take the head pin and put the bead cap on here. This part doesn't take very long. We've got the large round bead cap, and okay, so We're going to finish this off, bend it, trim it down to about 1/4 of an inch, make our loop just like we would to get ready for our ear wire. Slip the ear wire on. See, if I hurry, I don't have to make a 6th pair, right? Straighten it up, close it up. This part was easy. Voila, we have an earring. But we don't. We're not done yet. We have this chain. We have these 3 little 6mm beads. We have a ball head pin. We are going to wire wrap these. If I can find the hole. Same technique we used earlier, allowing a little bit of room to wrap it around. Bending this over, kind of straight with the wire. It's not really straight, but, and going to wrap this past. So this is what we have. Going to hold on to it with my flat nose pliers, and it helps sometimes if you go in a little bit versus here. Just hold on to it a little further in, and then take your other pliers and let's wrap this around. Keeping them close to each other and wrapping it 3 times. Turn it over to finish that. Let's see, do I have it 3 times around? I do. So I'm going to trim this off, and I like to use needle nose pliers, and you will find a link below the video for my tools that I use on a regular basis and a whole bunch of other supplies. You just have to look under the word more. I've probably mentioned that a few times in my videos. A lot of people don't know where to open up that drop down box. Okay, just flattening that out. I'm going to straighten up my loop, straighten it up a little bit, and this is what I have. Okay, let's repeat the process for the other 2, and hopefully they come out the same. Hopefully, since I'm doing it all at the same time, if I can find the hole in the bead. There it is. Okay, I'm just going to play some music over this part rather than talk you through it. We've got them done. Now I have this chain. Now I have these 3 pieces of chain about 1 inch long, including the little 4mm jump rings at the end. Take and open up this jump ring, this small jump ring at the split, and attach one of the little tiny little moon glow beads. Close it up and repeat that for the other 2. We can't open this because it's wire wrapped, but we can open up the jump ring. And I really think adding this small 4mm jump ring really makes it a lot easier to do this than trying to open up the link on the chain. It really helps a lot. I've done it both ways, and this is so much easier. Just make sure your jump ring is closed. That's always important. Close it up, open it, attach the little bead drop here, close it up. Okay, now we have these 3 little pieces, these 3 components now. What do you think we're going to do? We're going to open up the loop on the bottom of this, open it up sideways, and attach the little ring at the top of the chain. This is going faster than I thought it would. I don't know. Do I need to make a number 6? Do I? So this is what we have. And you could make these 3 different lengths if you want. But let's take a closer look at it. Here we go. Using some vintage moon glow beads. Those are really cool. A few bead caps. 3 lengths of chain per each. 6 total with 4mm jump rings at the end. And we've got our little wire wrapped moon glow beads at the bottom. This is earring number 5. All right, so I know that pair number 5 takes a little longer than 5 minutes. So next up is pair number 6. What do we have here for number 6? We have an eye pin, a ball pin, a small round bead, 9mm, Oh, and I have a link for this below as well. Do you remember in my haul video that came out before this video, I took apart a necklace that had all of these little chip pastel colors. So I have a pastel pink and kind of a orangey color and a pastel green. Got an ear wire, and I've got four 4mm beads. Let's take our eye pin. This is so easy. I love it. We're going to place one of our beads. These are 4mm, and I think I'll go with pink. And the holes are not drilled perfectly, by the way. They're just not, and that's okay for these. Round bead. Let's do green. Round bead. And this kind of orangey color. And these are just dyed. The color is just a dye that they put on the shell. Let's go ahead and, you know what, I want to finish this off with a small bead on top, not this one. Let's go with a 3mm on top, like so. Going to bend this at a right angle, make it into an earring. Trim this back to about 1/4 inch. Make a loop. Attach our ear wire. Close it up. And then we have our ball head pin. And this bead is just from a vintage necklace. Just going to allow a little bit of room, and I'm going to wire wrap this one again. I'm just going to fold that over, reposition, wrap it around to the back, hold on to it with my flat nose pliers, good grip, and then wrap this around 3 times. And this is so thin, it just shifts so easily. Very thin wire. With this thin of a head pin, you really do have to wire wrap it. This is how you could lose your earring, just by trying to do a single loop at the top, because it's so thin. All right, and it's just bending all over the place, but let me see if I can get one more wrap here. All right, I think I'm good. I'm going to trim that off. Now, I made the other one yesterday. You know, my videos are multiple days in the works, and so if this wire wrap isn't matching up perfectly with the one I did yesterday, well, you know, I can always adjust it. I can always redo it, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to tuck this in. Let's just open up needle nose pliers, open this bottom of the eye pin up, attach our little dangle, vintage dangle. And we have a super quick earring using little shells, chip shells, I guess. You could use chip beads or shells or whatever you'd like. And that was so fast. Pair number 6, the bonus pair. Next, I'm going to show you all of the earrings. I will number each one, and you're welcome to vote in your comment. All of the earrings that I showed you today will be listed in our eBay store, Avante Avenue, and you'll find a link for our store below the video. Look for the word that says more. Click on that word more, and it will open up a drop-down box with all my links for recommended tools, supplies, and all kinds of things. I hope you enjoyed today's video using an eye pin to make earrings. I'm really enjoying the look of earrings made with eye pins, and I hope you do too. Thanks for watching. I'm Vicki with Avante Jewelry, and I'll see you in the next video.